get live streamed, and then all of a sudden I'm like the first 30 seconds just looking like a fool trying to talk. But it looks like we are now live streaming. Let me check us out here. Give me 2 seconds. We are live on YouTube.
Like the millennial
Great.
pause.
Never worried about that one. The LinkedIn being the most important. Hello, everyone, and happy Tuesday. If you are watching us, it is so great to see you again. I always like to make sure that we are actually live before we start going. And that is from last week. And we are officially live on all platforms. So I can stop doing our song and dance and have our fancy software called Restream. Thank you. That gets us to YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So any of those platforms you're on, hit us up. I'll be monitoring the chat and then taking those comments and asking yours truly who are about to talk here. And we're now, I believe, on episode 8, which is pretty awesome. So consistency is the most important thing. It's great to see this continued Tech Talk Tuesday evolve, and it's going to roll into FRI and continue to drive everything to Technology Summit International. So hello, everyone. Kevin Sofen, honored to be sort of the sous chef host here. And I'm going to pass it over to Scott and Will, who will be leading, and have our two just awesome doers, movers, and shakers, Bobby Ortiz and Chad Crouse, with us today. So, Scott, throw it to you.
All right. Hey, welcome and happy Tuesday to everybody. It's July 15th. You're tuning in to Tech Talk Tuesday. First, we want to make sure we thank the IFC and Fire Rescue One for being partners on this and helping us host this show. Today, we've got two of the smartest people I know, and it's really great. We're going to get two different aspects. Chad Crouse is really into AI and all things AI, and Bobby Ortiz is really into unmanned aerial systems and doing some really neat things in Pflugerville. So we're going to get to talk to them today. We really don't have an agenda. We're just going to kind of see where it all goes. And Will's with us again today, and Will's looking a little bit more casual than usual.
Yeah, I'm up in Fairfax at the First Due Capital City Metro Region Command Summit. And so, usually we do the whole sponsor to drinks, somebody sends us some swag. Today I'm lacking a little bit. I'm in the Hyatt. So Hyatt, you got to do better. So Fiji, Hyatt, help me out, man. $9 for the water? Send us something. Come on. I'm just trying to live over here. So yeah, let's see what we got. Oh, sorry, Scott. I gotta give a shout out to my fire chief who just texted me and said that I'm not working. I sent him a picture. He said he wants a fancy microphone when I get back. So Chief Thomas, it's on the way.
It's awesome.
Something.
Gotta keep the chief happy.
Yes, sir. All right,
That's
Bobby.
that's a horrible introduction, by the way. That the two of the smartest people you know, you clearly need better circles.
For sure.
I thought he was talking about me and Kevin.
I thought so too.
Okay. Wait,
I'll leave it
more,
up to you to determine who I was talking about.
Okay.
We just happen to be here as well, Chad.
Yeah, we're parties to
So
it.
let's see, Bobby, you want to introduce yourself, and then we'll get Chad to introduce who he is.
Sir, my name is Bobby Ortiz. I'm a battalion chief with the Pflugerville Fire Department, B shift, shift commander. Been with Pflugerville for it's going on my 24th year. Been with TSI now. I guess this is my 3rd year, and it's been awesome. I really enjoy listening and speaking with all of these people that are truly smart. I just like to get out there and pretend I'm smart with them.
Yeah, Bobby's like my second favorite Texan. Scott's got, I got to throw one out there to Scott. So, Bobby, for the people listening,
How many Texans do you know?
2. 3. I know 3. I know another one. But Bobby, where is Pflugerville in the grand scheme of Texas?
So Pflugerville is just north of Austin. We border the city of Austin, and just south of Round Rock. So I guess if Central Texas were to have a metroplex, that's like the hub of the area. We're an 8-station department, run 2 battalions. So it's grown. When I first started there, we were at 4 stations, had 12 people on the shift. Now we have 80 firefighters on each shift and 8 stations, run 22 apparatus a day.
Flex.
Hey, Will, I'll buy you dinner next time I see you if you can spell Pflugerville correctly right now.
Oh man, PHL.
Fail.
I think there's a sneaky F in there.
That's
No,
right.
no. Then
It's
I
German.
started out good with the PH, right?
PF.
You try to sound smart. You know, you're like, look, I know.
I knew it had a
Follow
P in it
English
from
rules.
last time at TSI. Bobby hit me with the same trick, and I knew it had a P, so I missed it. All right, what about Chad? Where's Chad from?
So I'm down here in South Florida. So we're a couple hours north of Miami on the coast, the St. Lucie County Fire District. It's pretty unique in that it's we're independent special taxing district. We're the largest one, so we're countywide. There's no other agencies that respond. About 640 square miles of urban, semi-urban. We have 20 stations. Well, 18. Two are going to open next year. One later this year, one early. A lot of growth in Florida right now. Run about 70,000 calls, fire and rescue. Have all our teams and everything there. And so how I got into the technology side is I was duped. I've loved training. I used to work for Palm Beach State College as a department chair, and they brought me in as the battalion chief of training, convinced me to come on to days. And then a year later, they switched all my divisions around. So now I'm a division chief. I oversee our emergency management, community risk reduction, our communications division, IT, and anything else they throw at me. So it was a bait and switch. It was well played. I can't get out now. So obviously, when you get into something that's new, you want to go out and that's how I started with the Tech Council. I started on the communications subcommittee, and then I convinced Kevin and Scott to let me stand up an AI committee, and that's been fun. It's been a couple months now. We got a good group of members. So great to have that phenomenal team there. A lot of really, truly smart people. So we're doing well with that. So it's great. It's great.
Chad, you ever seen this movie? I think it was called Bronx Tale. And these guys are making a disturbance, and the guy goes over there, shuts the door, and locks it, and he goes, "Now you just can't leave." That's kind of that's the trap of admin fire. Like you get up there and you're like, "Okay, this was cool," and like, no, they shut the door and they lock it, and like now you just can't leave. But
So
go ahead.
So after I joined, I had a mentor of mine. He goes, "You did get a first right of refusal letter from your chief to let you out, didn't you?" And I was like, "Why would you tell me this after I committed? Like that's the most genius thing I've ever gotten." It was too late. He wouldn't give it to me retroactively.
Now, there's years ago, I've been married 21 years, and we came down to Florida for our honeymoon to Port St. Lucie area.
That's us.
All right, so I convinced my wife, this is when she knew she was in trouble, to let me go ride the fire truck. So I remember going to a station, just so happened the fire chief was there, but his name was like Sizemore or Jay or something like that.
Jay Sizemore.
There you go.
Jay Sizemore.
And he was like, "Yeah, you can ride tomorrow." I signed a waiver and I went and rode with one of the stations on my honeymoon.
So he hired me, and my interview, because my dad was here, my grandfather's here. He's like, "You got big shoes to fill," and that was it. I had all this preparation. No, nothing. Just go on your way. And so it's been 21 years. It's definitely grown since you've been there. So yeah, I don't know how
years ago is when I rode with him, May of 2004.
Yep. I got hired in March 2004 and then got promptly hit by two storms that year. It was interesting first year.
I still got my shirt that gave me a gray polo with like St. Lucie fire.
Does it have the pocket? Because if it has the pocket, that's a vintage item. People will get money for that.
Bro, I will find out.
The thin one with the pocket.
Good to know, Chad. Good to know. All right, so let's talk about some of the projects, Scott. What are we working on over here?
Yeah, Bobby, what are you guys working on in Pflugerville right now?
Man, we got a bunch of different things going on. We have a ton of AI in the background going on. As I was speaking to you guys before this, one with like Samsara, all of our officers and battalion chiefs and paramedics in the back, we're all wearing body cameras now, kind of just as a backup. One of those things is people say this is how the story went, and they're like, well, yeah. Pause a second. We have video footage. So it took a little bit of while to get some buy-in with that.
No kidding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, started off with the Samsara, but I think once people realize, the first time that you get in an accident and the ambulance chasers start to call, and then they realize that you have footage of everything, the speed you're going, the fact that you guys are wearing a seatbelt, 2 hands on the steering wheel, not exceeding the speed limit, and totally not your fault. Your heart slows down a little bit. You're like, okay. I'm gonna be fine. And thank goodness for that thing that's staring at me all the time that kind of barks at me sometimes, and I
Yeah.
get frustrated with, and I get that. Um, but yeah, with the body camera thing, that was a big deal at first. Then we just implemented with the battalion chiefs only. So we were, responding to some of the calls, the more critical calls, wearing the body cameras, and just getting really good footage, and then just also knowing, kind of like how the police were, only certain people have access to the footage. So, and the chiefs, honestly, and the administration building are not interested in streaming the cameras, not interested in even watching the videos at all. They have way too many things going on until something arises. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, so what date was that? What was the timestamp? Um, and then they can go back and take a look at it. Uh, so with the aerial stuff, currently just still preparing and training pilots more and more all the time. Me and a couple of the battalion chiefs were out the other day, and I was teaching them how to map using the drones, and then we actually have those Emily's on order, which I think with the recent floods here in Texas. Could have helped out tremendously. We weren't involved too terribly much with that. It was on the opposite end of the county from us, and we sent crews initially. I got a call at about 3 o'clock in the morning to send a command unit. I'd sent our safety officer out there, and by the time he got out there, it was about 45-minute drive to the other side of the county, and all the roads were washed out. They couldn't even get to anywhere that they wanted them to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty horrific what's happening down there, and the recovery situation that they're in right now. It's unreal down there. I'm sure that we're going to hear more about it in the future days. But tell us a little bit about the Emily. What is Emily?
So Emily is basically a robotic buoy. So like a swim buoy that you would use as a lifeguard, but it's about 4 foot long, tubular. Ours has a life jacket, a helmet, two-way radio, and a camera system that's on it, so that we can get it out immediately. So we have a small lake. I guess it's about a 10-acre, 15-acre lake in the center of our district, that no motorized boats are allowed on, but people kite surf this thing like crazy. There's a lot of triathlons that go on around that lake. So when triathlons are there, we man like uh, paddle boards, kite boards. But in the event that something actually goes wrong, our station 6 is about 1,000 yards from the lake. So we have a UTV that we're going to put the Emily on, and then the battalions respond with the drones too, so we can get something up in the air. And that Emily, we can shoot out there to them with remote control, get it out there. We can communicate with them via the two-way radio, and something that they can hold on to. And it also has a rope that's attached to the back of it. So it just stretches out with the rope, and you can reel them in with the rope, or the other responders can go ahead and hop on the kite boards and paddle boards and get out to them and flip them on the paddle board. If surfers are out there surfing, the wind is generally pretty stiff, and being on a paddle board or a kite board is not great in wind. You're just going to have to go to the opposite end of the lake, and we're just going to go with the direction of the wind, and that's where the ambulance will pick you up.
Yeah, surfing
So,
on a lake out there. My goodness, man. Texas is a different place.
yeah. We do things big out here, Will. I don't know if you
Bro,
heard.
good gracious, man. So when I was in Columbia, we had a pretty good complement of swiftwater calls and equipment, and I never would have thought of something like that, Bobby. And I'm thinking back on some of the calls where that thing could have been used, and our members were constantly out there training and training and training. And I know one evolution, they were flowing the dam, and they say, "Hey, we need a victim. We want to put somebody in the water and actually have to go get them." And they say, "Hey, Chief, you want to do it?" And I thought for a minute, no. I'm not a strong swimmer, and I was like, I will be a real victim. Like you guys will.
Yeah, it's really cool, because utilizing, rope systems with that as well. You can run your rope systems across the river which way direction you want. It'll get there very quickly, so that the rescuers and the firefighters, we can all set up our systems and deploy off of those, and then it keeps going. It can move into an eddy rather quickly, and allow people to grab the things off. Or if somebody's stuck to a tree, hey, there's a helmet on here. Just go ahead and grab the helmet, put the helmet on. You're safe. Reach down, grab the life jacket, put the life jacket on just in case you fall in the water before our rescues get there. You have some sort of flotation. So, it's not perfect, just like anything else isn't perfect. But what is almost perfect about that is if you have somebody that is operating an unmanned aerial asset with the Emily, that's pretty great. And the fact, that we use a program called Drone Sense, about 90% of the area down here, Travis County, we all use Drone Sense. So we all just get on the same mission. We can fly together. I can utilize, like Jason Burnside, he'll come from Austin Fire. Like, hey, let me have your code, and I'll, shoot him my code, and I'll let him fly. He's probably the best pilot I know. And we'll take care of all the other things, and we'll communicate with each other and work really well. I think that's one of the greatest assets of TSI since its inception, is the networking. So you get together and everybody's sitting there talking to each other. You're learning about neighboring departments that maybe you haven't had much face-to-face time with, and you're really given a good solid 5 days to sit there and talk to each other and learn and gain these and build these relationships with each other. And I could just call any one of you guys at any given time and say, hey, what do you guys think about this? Have you utilized this thing? Has it worked for you? What are its ups? What are its downs? What are your suggestions? So I love that about the IFC. I love that about TSI, and then just a great group of guys like y'all that I can depend on for instant communication.
Hey, Scott, I think he's the first guest to actually plug TSI before we do. So 2% discount, Bobby.
I was thinking the same thing.
You got bills, man. So 2% discount.
Beat us to it. Yeah.
I also love the fact that, the last couple tech talks cover a range of topics, right? But this one we see really the tech in the operations, in the hands of the firefighters, not monitoring or whatever. So I really want to point out to the guests that, when we talk about technology in a fire space, it's everything from those nozzles to the swift water operations he's talking about, to dashboards, to wearables. But you really can use technology to improve your department on any facet, really. So what's Chad doing with technology?
Well, I want to tie into this. This is a perfect example. Talking about this Emily device, we have obviously a lot of coastline, rip tides, different things going on, and it's a struggle for us. You have to train your personnel capable to the task that you're giving them, and we're a very young department, and we don't have swift water calls per se, but that ocean out there causes a lot of trouble. And when hurricanes approach, you think people wouldn't go out and try to surf in them or do different things. But the Florida man is alive and well in St. Lucie County, and we might be leading the way. So that seems like a good device to look into. So that's a perfect example of something that we weren't even familiar with. On our technology front right now, we've been kind of using AI administratively, and I think a lot of chiefs around the country have kind of figured this out, right? It's a time saver. It gives them the ability to get some stuff done, analyze data. But now we really want to get into operations, right? And there's a trust factor there, because we have to work alongside AI, and we have to be able to trust what it's doing. And that's, firefighters have trust issues. I don't know why. But in this case, I think drones are a perfect place for AI to come in. Maybe not in piloting. I know that they're working at the federal level to do some beyond line of sight trials. I think that's coming one day, certainly, if they're not already doing it in small areas. But in the processing of this vast amount of data. So before we got on, we were talking about Skyfire AI and the work they did in North Carolina. Now we see a similar sort of event here in Texas. But you're collecting a dramatic amount of footage. In North Carolina, it was 3 gigabytes. I don't even know what that is. It sounds like a lot. So they stitched these maps together, and then they used AI to process that data very rapidly and go, well, here's the sites that look like roads are blocked. Here's the sites of buildings that look like they're damaged, and prioritize that. And to my knowledge, I think that was the first time they had used that in a real world emergency. And there were some drawbacks, and things happened, right? There were some orientation problems with the mapping and different things, but we're always going to have that when it starts. But I think now that started, these large scale flooding disasters, you're going to see them come in. And tech wise, we do a number of things. We've liked tech a lot in personal safety. So all of our bunker gear is RFID tagged. So the second, basically what happens is after a structure fire, we do gross decon. And then at the end of the shift, they bag up their gear. It gets picked up. The second it goes into our laundry facility, all those tags are scanned. It knows when it was manufactured, its repair history, everything about it. And then they'll clean, wash it, and return it to their station that they're going to be at the next shift. So tracking that has really helped us. And not that it's true AI in the sense that it's working on its own, but we normally wouldn't be able to do that data analysis. That's just so much data. And AI is great at pattern recognition. And there's things that normally we wouldn't tackle because we all have plenty of resources, right? We have more resources than we know what to do with. No one ever said. So that's where I think AI can come in. That's what we're trying to leverage it for, not just to automate tasks, but to enhance them, make them better. Things that were previously unavailable to us because we didn't have the human power to kind of go into it. Now we can do a little bit more. We can understand a little bit more of what's going on. On the communication side, I'm really excited about a couple companies that are working on listening to our radio traffic and listening for the key phrases from Project Mayday. And once it starts picking those up, notifying that telecommunicator that, hey, pay attention. So it can be listening to that radio communication. Maybe we miss a Mayday. We all know that, sadly enough, like there's sometimes due to all the traffic, those go missed. But I think that's where AI fits in operations as an assistant. It's augmenting that incident commander, augmenting the teams that are working, and just getting them information they need. So that's been our focus, is not replacing anything, just where can it enhance, where can it help. A number of projects underway.
Yeah, I met, Cy Narain from Microsoft. He and I wrote an article in Fire Engine Magazine. It's probably a couple of years ago now. We're talking about what it's going to look like with AI and the fire service. And Chad, you and I have talked about this. Like, one of the things that got us talking about this on the conversation to begin with was Don Abbott's 15 Mayday or 16 Mayday terms. And I was asking Cy, is like, hey, do you think AI will ever be able to start communications and warn the incident commander when 2, 3, whatever you set that threshold at of those those Mayday terms are stated? He said, absolutely. So we just started kind of going down this, like, well, what about this? What about that? And so, and some of that we're starting to see here now 2 years later. We actually probably wrote that article probably about 3 years ago because it took about a year for it to be in there. But we're starting to see some of that come to fruition now. And so it's pretty amazing. I know on the autonomous drones, I don't know if anybody's doing it yet, but I have seen, especially on the PD side, where they're training drones to be autonomous, where they can send them into a house, like with the SWAT calls or a warehouse, and they don't have to send a person or a dog in there. They're sending the drone in there, and they're training it to be autonomous to fly around, and they're giving an objective, like find the perpetrator. So the drone does that without that pilot there, without the need for that pilot, which for the fire service, when we perfect that, that's gonna be great, because most of us have that problem. Like, we barely have enough people to put the fire out, on a regular day. Who's going to fly the drone? We don't have that extra person to do it. So when we get to the autonomous flying portion of it, it's really going to be a game changer for the fire service.
Yeah, Scott, you look at
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I want to say on the law enforcement side, they're definitely a little bit ahead of us. I know there's a couple major cities that they utilize a shot spotter system. And basically, the second that detects and triangulates the location of a gunshot, they're working on projects to automatically have a drone lift off and provide aerial video to those incoming officers. And you wrote that article, and we're 2 years later, and that definitely is in beta testing and available. I think the next step that you're going to see, we utilize tethered drones for our structure fire scenes. We push a button, it goes up. We don't need anybody distracted. It's not a distraction, it's just to look at it. I think another 2 years from now, it'll be watching that building and looking for structural collapse signs, looking for things like that. I think video is going to be this forefront, and that's why the tethered drones and even your manned drones are going to be a great source of video to kind of give you situational awareness, and we can finally start seeing AI in operations and not just in administration.
We spoke about this. One of the presentation that I did last year's conference, we utilized Chief Kelly with Oklahoma City and their DFR program, which is amazing. And I think the coolest part about DFR is resource allocation. You get a call for a structure fire, for a wildland fire. That drone gets up and it sets over the scene well before any first arriving unit's going to get there. And you can dictate as an incident commander responding whether I need all of these apparatus pushing, the public out of the way, running lights and sirens, or if we're going to need additional resources. What part of the county are we in? And what are we going to need to be able to best attack this? Are we in a WUI situation, or is this just wildland? Do I not need anybody because it's single hay bale in the middle of the green field? So it's amazing. The technology that is just going to enhance what we do, as you said a little while ago, Scott, is is endless, you know. And I think going back to what you were saying a minute ago about that dispatching center, you know, I think that when y'all put a call to action for dispatchers to come, or dispatching software developers to come out, not only are they extremely expensive, but to be able to utilize something like that, especially for a department that's looking into getting into dispatching, if you could utilize something like that, especially for those departments that have battalion chiefs that don't have an aide, to be able to be that second set of ears, you know, and it's going to, you know, hit a green light inside your car or a red light. Hey, these things are going on. Listen, you know, or, you know, it's listening for Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. And it chirps at you while you're sitting there talking to somebody who just walked up to your window for the seventh time during the call. So I think that's outstanding. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, and somebody who's been on the scene and witnessed that firsthand, it's the line of duty report came out, the NIOSH report came out. You know, in Columbia, we had a Mayday, we missed a Mayday call, we had multiple firefighters trapped, we had a incident commander, very experienced, we had a senior advisor, we had multiple chiefs on scene, and it still got missed. And to me, you can't have enough ears listening out, whether it's humans, AI. There's got to be some fail safes there to protect us. But you look at what that's doing in that space and the drones. I mean, simple things with drones, the highway calls. I saw a video the other day of it was a apparatus going the opposite way down the highway. And I'm like, man, it's so dangerous. When if you just got a chief's buggy, lift the drone up, let it go down the scout, see if you really got something. Is it worth it or not? You know, taking that risk factor out of there. I'm really excited to where the next generation of the fire service is headed.
Mm-hmm.
I want to take a second because we all talk to each other and we have a lot of information sharing, but we have a pretty good audience here. Kevin, we have any questions, or can we take any questions to see what?
Yeah, we've got a question. Yeah, we've got a question, and anybody's watching live, feel free to ask your questions, and we'll try to get them answered. This one, we'll see, probably Bobby, but Chad, you may have an answer for this one. Can you stream air, land, water robotics all in one platform? And how do you scale robot usage with limited operators?
So the way that I'll go ahead and take the first part of this, Chad. And the way that we do it is with in my battalion car, I have an aide. My aide is also a drone pilot. So we arrive on scene. I'm initiating command, you know, communicating with the units on scene, and he's getting everything set up. The iPad is sitting right in front of me with a mount. He just gets the drone put up in the air, and it just sits stationary so that I can see the entire scene right there on the iPad in front of me. I'm not having to mess with anything. Um, and yes, you can. You know, like I said before, we use DroneSense. It's, you know, selfless plug on a software that we use, a company here based out of Austin. But yes, if you have the plug-in with MSAT, mobile streaming, and tracking, you can put a camera on a dog if you want to, and you can name it within the software on a dog, and the dog's going out and doing it. You can put it on a UTV, you can put it on Emily if you want to, as long as it has a cell connection, that camera, anything can stream onto it. And so at that point, inside your incident command center, you can be streaming all of the devices all logged into the same code.
Very cool.
Nice. And I want to point out, Scott, that before Chad starts, he's the first guest to ask for questions. So 3% discount, Kevin. 3% discount. The numbers are going up. Go ahead, Chad.
No, I want to say bring in your IT. Right. There's a lot of vendors that have platforms. There's one that I was just talking to a fire commissioner out of Southwest Florida about Peregrine. And it's a situational awareness platform, and it accepts all sorts of type of data feed, right? So this isn't some unique product. I mean, these vendors are coming in and they're bringing in data into one interface. And so while there's some already made solutions, if you have a good IT department, they may have some cheaper options for you. They won't be as great as DroneSense. DroneSense has the usability is really important. That, like, when we give technology, if people don't know how to use it and they struggle with it, they're immediately going to write it off, whether it was good or bad. They're just going to struggle. So I do think there's a couple ones out there, but the Peregrine is one that is kind of universal fitting in terms of what you want to have, drone feeds, if you want to have mapping, if you want to have, they have a lot of ability to bring in data from all different types of sources and give you this one platform. One of the reasons why we went to First Do, and a shameless plug for them, is that before we'd be in our CAD system, we have to download our PDF of our CAD drawing, and we have to go off of that screen, and then we're trying to look up our ERG and look at all this information. And now on with their responder, my pre-inset plan is overlaid on the map. I just zoom in and it's there. I don't have to click anything. If we listed the hazardous material, I click on the hazardous material and it brings up the ERG page, right? So I don't have to fumble through a book or look anything up. We've actually begun to incorporate the intersection cameras. So if we're going to an MVC at a certain intersection, there's a camera available. Basically anything with a URL, we can click on that and our officers can see what they have going on before they get there, start thinking about that block, start thinking about additional resources. We get a lot of traffic accidents. Port St. Lucie is a struggle to drive. So we have one of the highest vehicle versus pedestrian rates in the state. So those things, we get a lot of those calls. We have to kind of see that information. So I think you're right. It's all about overlaying and having it in front of you, so we're not distracting our firefighters from what they're trying to do, save lives and not be distracted by data and all these other things. One place, and that's been a solution. So I would encourage people to look out for that and to see how they can create that common operating picture within their own department with other agencies.
Well said. Now, Scott, do you see one of these questions? I'm gonna read it. You ready for this one? This is a common one, man. We get this one a lot. So AI sounds great, but I'm hearing a lot of concern about it taking our jobs. So what are some use cases of how AI can help fire service and overcome the fear of AI that's eating our lunch, so to speak? So what do you think about that, Bobby? You think there's you'll see a time when AI is going to take your job? I mean, it sounds like it's an enhancer. Your aide is using it. What do you think on that?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it really is a job aid. Am I saying that at some point it couldn't? The Boston Dynamics humanoids that they're building at some point could drag hose, locate victims. Yeah, I'm sure at some point in the future. Am I going to see that in my career? No. I mean, it's taken a very long time, for technology to get to where it's at. And we all know that it just, it force multiplies, quicker than it took to get the initial one out there. But I truly see it as an aid. Everything that we've done so far, I think the bigger factor with utilizing technology is the buy-in from the boots on the ground, letting them understand how this tool is helpful and how it enhances your job. And it's not Big Brother just watching. It's a tool that's going to be utilized to help you for a better outcome. I love it so far. I mean, I probably wouldn't be a part of this group if I didn't love technology. My chief is always sending me pictures of Kip from
Knight Rider.
No, from Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh,
I love technology. I'm just a technology dork, and I truly enjoy it. But I think that you have to embrace it. It is here. It's not going away. It's only going to keep putting itself into every job. So I think that the best thing to be able to do is learn how to work together with it and how it can enhance what we currently do, and we can use it to learn. It's learning constantly, but I think that, if you're paying attention, then you can make better decisions off the get-go because of things that you watched in previous, using it for AARs and that sort.
I'm going to go out, and I know I told Scott this and he's heard me. I'm going to rename AI right here. It's not artificial intelligence. It's augmented intelligence. In no way are we there yet. I know that there's a lot of hype around AI. I don't know that it's even anything more than really sophisticated pattern recognition. And I think Apple had some work recently where they're like, hey, we're jumping the gun on where it's at. So if you think about what we do and what we ask our men and women to do every day, there's decisions that we have to make that can't really come into play anywhere in the near future that I can see. What is available to us is this amazing ability to rapidly decipher data and then use our experience, our time on the fire ground, to make a better decision, right? To me, training is a huge area that, how long does it take to build a class? If you were in the training division, I can build a class out in a couple of hours based off 4 or 5 articles. Fire engineering just joined the AI subcommittee, and they're working on a project where you drop some articles, you drop your SOGs, and you tell the AI, I want a 1-hour class with a PowerPoint slide and and it builds it, right? So now what can we do, right? We don't build more classes. We go and put our training officers on the ground, in the sun, in the weather, with their hands getting dirty with our people, and we train better. Let AI do the things that take us away from the fire ground. Let AI do things that are a distraction to us, and let's reinvest that time saving into working, right? Training, getting those things done. That's the greatest advantage AI can give you, is to focus more time on those things. We all know as we get to be bigger departments, the time suck that comes with compliance, that comes with insurance, that comes with these things. Let's clear a lot of that up and refocus on training and getting active on the fire ground and really being masters of our craft. That's where I'm at with it, is augmented intelligence. I don't think it has the capacity to take anybody's job on the line. I think there's probably some cases for it in administration in terms of, billing, ambulance billing, taking some calls at dispatch, maybe in the next 10 years, actually being able to answer non-emergency lines. Maybe in logistics. I definitely think there's some things that can happen there that can automate, but not on the line. I don't think it's taken those positions.
What about, I tell you the job it is taken out of the firehouse, and y'all all have seen this person throughout your career. Hey, bro, come read this real quick. Come proofread this before I hit enter, before I send it to you. That person's definitely losing their job.
Yeah, the firehouse lawyer. Yeah, the firehouse lawyer is losing their job.
Buddy. You're out of here.
Hey,
so we're going to age ourselves. Remember we used to sit around the kitchen table and somebody would say something, and then people would just start making up arguments about why they were wrong or why they're right. And then at a certain point, people started Googling it. And you're like, this is no fun. We don't get to have a debate anymore. Somebody just Googles it. Well, now people are chat GPTing it. And so it does change the dynamic, but I think it's going to help the fire service. And they asked me to write an article on the training survey that they put out in terms of technology, and I was shocked by their results. Outside of thermal imagers and gas monitors, the adoption of tactical dashboards, digital ones, the adoption of drones, the adoption of a lot of these technologies that we were looking at, it's relatively low. So
it's extremely low.
Extremely low. So now we get in this thing where we're like, hey, it's coming, and there's all this AI hype. There's been hype about different technologies throughout our fire service career, and I remember it's going to be a slow adoption.
So a couple things. One, I want to tag on to what you're saying about artificial intelligence, and you're talking about augmented intelligence. I've plugged this book on here before, but the book Co-Intelligence, if you go read that, and it's not a high-level book, you don't have to understand mathematics and computer language to read it, but if you go read that, you get a better understanding what artificial intelligence is and what it isn't. And it's really just a probability machine. It's taking what you're asking it and coming up with the highest probability of what you want. And it's also it learns from whatever input they put into it. And they're talking about, so that's why each AI engine's a little bit different, because they're learning from whether it's books, novels, but a lot of times it's what they're able to get free on the internet is what they're putting in there. So that's how it's learning. And there's also a degree of randomness programmed into artificial intelligence. And that's where you're getting your hallucinations from. It's that degree of randomness. That's why you can actually ask ChatGPT the same question twice if it's a difficult question, and you'll get different answers. If you ask it, what do you put on bread? It's probably going to come with jam. But if you ask it a more difficult question, you're going to come up with a little bit different answer because of that degree of randomness. And if you ask ChatGPT versus Copilot versus Gemini, the same question, you're going to get different answers because they both trained them on different knowledges, different areas of knowledge. And so it really is like Chad said, it's augmented, it's not artificial, generalized artificial intelligence yet, but I think that's coming. It's coming in the future. Will
Yeah.
it take our jobs? Like Bobby said, it may, but it's years and years away from now. You've got to have the robotics to be able to do it, and the robotics are pretty amazing, but they're not there yet either.
Yeah, and
As
I would
far
say
as
that argument's probably, Scott, in the fire service as long as the fire service existed. You know, when the water can came out, oh, it's going to take our jobs. When sprinklers came out, it's going to take our jobs. If anything, it makes our jobs safer, makes us more
Mhm.
efficient, keeps the public safer. And if that's the case, bro, I'm always for it. We got another
Yeah,
question though, Scott. What's
I
that one
mean,
down at the
because
bottom?
truly and honestly, though, real quick, Will, I
Yeah,
mean,
go
those
for it.
of us who have any sort of rank, whether you're a company officer or you're a captain or battalion chief, how many of us just wear one hat? How many of us go to the fire station and, as a battalion chief, that's all I do is I manage fires. That's not a thing. So, I mean, at least in our organization, we do a bunch of different things. We're tasked with taking care of a lot of different things. So it provides an opportunity to kind of expedite those things that make you task saturated, um, and give you opportunities to be more productive in other areas.
Yeah, chiefing ain't
I
easy,
want to tag
Bobby.
on the last thing that Chad said, talking about the adoption rate. And I was actually having a conversation with a buddy of mine the other day. We don't have a technology needs problem. There's pretty much a technology out there for any gap we have right now, whether it's data analysis, whether it's drones, whatever it is you have incident command, that technology, tracking firefighters on XYZ access, that technology is available right now. What we have in the fire service is a technology adoption problem.
Yeah, I was talking about technology. I was watching Bobby's fancy camera track him. Like what fanciness is that, dude?
It's
Your
just
dis
iPad.
your discount's gone, bro. You clearly have way too much money.
So it worked two jobs, happens.
Yeah, so the one down below, Scott, and I haven't seen this one before. I might have to Google it, but it was talking about the inclusion of AI in the drones, autonomous drone deployments, put out fires early, like X Prize. I haven't seen that. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Yeah. X
Chad
Yeah,
said
Prize
he
is,
knows what about it.
yeah.
What's that? There, somebody posted a link.
yeah. They'll be at TSI. Yeah, we're gonna have them come TSI and talk about the X Prize, but it's an annual worldwide. Kevin can probably fill us in a little bit more too. It's a worldwide kind of competition that they give out money to companies, organizations that are really combating wildfire. I think it was in Australia this year, wasn't it, Kevin?
Yeah, and there's two tracks. One is looking at detecting wildfires early from space using satellites, and then the other part is using autonomous drones to actually go out and put out those fires. And as I'm interpreting the question, I think there's this interest of kind of understanding like how can drones already are equipped with software, and I think to Chad, your point of AI, is it artificial intelligence or is it augmented intel? And I mean, what kind of AI or what kind of intel is in the software of this drone where it can take intelligence from maybe a satellite and go from point A to point B and put out some type of suppressant or surfactant to put out the fire. I remember, I think Dan Muncie said that quote of that every fire starts small. So I think that's the idea
Mm.
of like, if you got intel, if you got drones that can deploy a couple, 10, 20 gallons of something, um, that's how I'm interpreting the question, but curious about just like this integration of different types of software stack on top of the drone with inputs and outputs. So yeah,
So what
Chad.
I want to talk about, the X Prize is great. It's a big worldwide, but I have a list of projects that fire departments have been doing in combination with universities and our major players, Google, Amazon Web Service, Microsoft. So just to give you some examples, City of Asheville partnered with University of North Carolina, Asheville, and Microsoft to work on flood risk mapping. And what they got from Microsoft was access to their AI for Earth program. They gave them Azure cloud credits for free to process the data. They gave them model access and technical assistance, right? Free, because they're supporting these bigger ideas. Tulsa, I think we talked about. They worked with Google on an AI impact challenge. Hoboken, New Jersey, worked with IBM, talking about modeling rainfall, tide, and storm drain. So San Bernardino's on there. Butte County, California, worked with NVIDIA. So those companies want to work on these projects. And the X Prize is big, but you never know. You go and you work with Google Public Safety and say, we're having this problem. You work with your city, you work with the university that's going to be way, way higher of a level than we are at this, right? We joke around that, the private sector knows what's going on with AI. We're just trying to keep up with it. So bring in those public-private partnerships and use your universities, use your resources, and they have free credits. They give you free tools. A lot of work from those big companies that people can reach out and do.
Yeah, I just found
Yeah,
out the
you know,
University of Virginia here in Charlottesville, they have a whole EV program and they're building race cars. So, I'm definitely gonna go over there and see how we can partner, some EV things with some Chiefs buggies. Yeah, I got to get to these calls quickly. Bobby,
and
what
I
were you
think
about to say?
that's a great point that
That's
you just
great,
brought up, Chad. You know, we got to be good stewards of the public's money, right? So putting a bunch of tax dollars in R&D for the fire service isn't necessarily, a great investment. It can turn out to be, but that's not, generally where the money is going to go to. So utilizing those partnerships, you don't have to be an FDNY or Phoenix Fire or LA County. You just have to have a local college that's willing and doesn't may not even realize that, hey, we have an opportunity to partner with an emergency services operations who, we can test these things at their training field, and that's a free resource to them too. And at the same time, your personnel are getting hands-on with cutting edge um, things that are out there, which is great.
And Microsoft and Google are getting good publicity that they're working to help communities. So they eat this up, and again, there's a lot of places. We have a partnership with Embry-Riddle for education. We're trying to get with University of Central Florida. They have a lot of technical expertise and sometimes resources. So you're right. I think small departments beg, borrow, and steal. Okay, so whatever you can do there, that was our motto in the training division: beg, borrow, steal. We try not to steal too often, but sometimes it happens. So we have
just,
borrowing,
borrow.
extended borrowing, extended borrowing.
What was that? Chief Kelly said R&D is rip off and duplicate.
He did.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hey Kevin, I think for TSI, I want to take some of these sayings and we should have shirts. I run from Chief Kelly. And then,
or maybe we get branded. We're in Texas, so
that's right.
Hey, so here's a great question.
With a good time.
Yeah, right.
Here's a great question, and I have an answer, but I know Chad does too. What are a few examples of departments using AI right now? Are there any success stories of departments using AI to save lives?
So, if you're talking about saving a life on an operational scene, there's AI built into your Zoll monitors, your different it used to be don't trust the monitor. There's little things like that. That's pattern recognition. I think emergency management and disasters has seen the largest impact in terms of routing resources more efficiently and effectively. I think that we're not quite there yet. It depends on your definition of helping save lives, right? You would never know on a scene that you were utilizing AI to, conduct some data analysis, what the outcome would have been if it wasn't there, right? It's kind of hard to make those decisions. I'm not aware anything direct, but I think they've enhanced operations and made things quicker. And does that result in saving a life? It's hard to tell without seeing what would happen without it. But I do think go ahead.
What about like Quake? So I can't utilize their technology because we use California style helmets, and they only have the traditional, helmet component to it.
Wait, you're from Texas, right?
That's
Bro,
right.
I wasn't even gonna...
And you're using what kind of helmet?
Yep.
What helmet did you just say?
We have Phoenix helmets. Correct.
Okay. All right.
LA County Fire helmets. That's right. They're actually light. They're great. They're comfortable. You can look up. It's this weird thing. You're wearing a fire helmet. You can do that.
Bro, he's trying to sell it to us, Chad.
Anyhow.
Yeah, I know. I think we got to kick him out. Can we kick him off here? Yeah.
You guys have seen how, Quake can drop breadcrumbs behind you. If somebody finds the downed firefighter, it can mark them, right? And it doesn't have the ability to trace you from where you're currently at to where that location of the downed firefighter is.
So I met with Sam, who I think he's the CEO. What an amazing guy. Talk about the opportunity, how long. I remember reading this article about this volcano and where this technology started over a decade ago, right? And to see him at FDIC and to see him at TSI and to see that was such an amazing, he stuck with it. He could have sold out. He could have done a lot of things. But that's one of those vendors that you want to get behind, because what they have really can't change what we do.
No, he's
Anytime
good,
you
dude.
can go faster in a structure fire, you can get to people quicker. You have that vision. That technology is going to revolutionize what we do. It's getting better every time. I encourage everybody to look into it. The cost will go down over time, but it's a great, cool thing to utilize.
If you have normal helmets.
If you
If you have
or we
Texas
call
help.
normal.
Here in Texas, have Texas help. But the AI saving lives gets into the ethical use of AI. And like we talked about just a bit ago, the hallucinations in AI. It's, at what point do you trust AI to make life and death decisions? And we're not there yet. I think we're far from that. And then, too, AI learns. So you've got to have a learning process. And who's going to be the guinea pigs while AI is learning to save lives? So
Trust but
that's,
verify.
yeah, so we're a long way from getting to that point. Examples of departments using AI. I just talked to a fire chief down near Bobby, Ken Bailey. Do you know Ken Bailey?
Mm-hmm.
The Travis County Fire Chief down there, one of the ESDs. So I had a call with him the other day, and he was basically he's like, "Hey, we don't have enough people to do all the things we need to do in my department." So what they're using AI for is they're using the voice to text, and they're taking the radio recordings, turning it into text. They've created basically a chat bot with all their SOPs, directives, and procedures, and they compare that voice to text from the fires to that chat bot, and it comes up with an after action analysis report for them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a
That's
great
crazy.
use case right there that's simple, easy to do with just a few like YouTube videos and research on Google. Any department could do that right now. There's a
We
couple
started doing
like
the same thing.
yeah, you could do like Otter AI, Firefly AI. I've actually got, I'm not using it right now, but I've got a little recording device called Plaud, Plaud, and I take that to every meeting. It records it and gives me a summary, AI summary of every like voice meeting, in-person meeting. It can record my phone calls. So there's a lot of great use cases right now that fire departments can do. I know fire departments are using for data analytics, especially with Copilot and Excel spreadsheet. You don't have to know the formulas anymore. If you have Copilot, you just ask you open up the spreadsheet, you ask Copilot what you want to do, and it creates those spreadsheet formulas for you. So there's a lot of great stuff you can do. You can create bar charts with it, pie charts. It can add. I've done some analysis with our 30,000 runs we made last year. It gave me a heat map of days of week and hours of the day, showing us the busiest times of the day, all using AI. So there's a lot of great examples you can use right now in your departments to help you with that staffing shortage, to augment that staff.
Yeah.
Scott, I want to go back to this point, because with operations, I'm going to make a statement that firefighters aren't risk takers. Risk takers become firefighters. And what I mean by that is how we assess the willingness of what we're doing day in and day out on a fire ground, our medical scene, our disaster scene is different. Sometimes contrary to what safety practices are. I don't see AI being able to understand that, at least without a significant amount of training and data, and nor do I want it to. And I think that's going to be a barrier. I think where that's the root of the trust. You go back to that silly, movie iRobot. Will Smith's mad because he was saved by an AI robot, and because he had a better percentage of surviving, but the child didn't. Right? That there's some reality to that. What we're doing here on fireground scenes sometimes is in opposition, and should be, of what maybe the textbook says. And so I think we continue to push augmented intelligence. It provides you the data, and then you use that in combination with your experience, and it allows you to get more data, right? Things that you normally couldn't process because of everything going on are readily available to you, but you get to factor them in now. So that's what saving lives on a fireground scene is always going to be a human-based initiative, and should stay there. But getting the information to make the best decision possible can easily be supported by AI, and it will in the future. One other thing that we did with AI is, we had 192 policies. So we put them all in there and said, what are the contradictions, and can any of these be combined? And then from there, it gives you kind of a roadmap. You don't realize how many things need to be, pulled back because they're old or it contradicts with something, because we all know that when we make a change, we look at every policy and update it immediately, right? So there are some tasks and things like that you can do administratively. We're seeing a lot of those, the data analysis and things there, but pretty cool time. We're not arguing about some of the stuff that they did in the old days, but now we just have a new topic.
Hey Chad, when you mentioned that joke about we change a policy, we go back, I laughed with you. The two ops battalion chiefs did not find it funny. Bro, it took them to a place at a kitchen table where some three-year, rookie firefighter or whatever is like, blah, blah, blah. They're like, oh my goodness. But I feel your pain, Chad. I'm with you.
Well, it also informed me that we were missing, a lactation policy and all of these other policies. And I was like, great, I thought we were going to reduce the number of policies. That was the goal.
No, that's the problem with policies. We keep adding and not taking away.
Yeah, that's why I don't follow any of them. It just makes it easier.
You started your chief was on here, right?
Guidelines.
I just kind of freestyle through the fire department, man. Just kind of let the day go as it goes, man.
You seem like someone that's gonna. You seem like somebody that's asked for forgiveness and do it really well. Right?
That's why we love you, Will.
Yeah, I mean, this is recorded and broadcast, so I do follow the rules, all of them.
Yeah. I was gonna say your chief was watching.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, we're coming up on the hour. This hour flew by. Man, what a great conversation. We kind of go around real quick and see if you have any last thoughts or kind of like Kevin likes to say, mic drop moments or something you'd like to add before we sign off for the day. Bobby?
Man, I think that Chad has had several mic drop moments. Very smart guy, utilizes, technology to the fullest. St. Lucie is, should be very proud to have somebody like him on board. Great mind. So I appreciate all his info and insight that he's given to this. But, I think one of the things that we just can't be afraid, I guess the saying in the fire service, 150 years of, tradition unimpeded by progress. We can't just ignore it and pretend that it's not there. It's here. It's helping us out. So utilize it to help you out. Don't be afraid of it. And if you're a fire chief and in charge of the budget and you have people who are willing to step out there and learn it for your organization, give them some bandwidth to get out there and reach out. And if they have any questions, as always, they can reach out to any of us on here. And, I'm sure that all of us would love to talk to them and help them out in any way we can.
And this new budget season, Chiefs, I know you're out there. July 1st, buddy.
We have no money. For me, I'm not taking a different direction here. I'm going to ask that everybody that is using AI, we all are task saturated. And one of the most amazing opportunities that AI can give you is to reclaim some of that time. And if you're one of those people that has a lot of tasks, I also know you're one of those people that just always is looking for more to do. Use some of those hours that AI gives you back to obviously take on new projects, enhance your organization, better the community, and please use some of them for yourself. I think that we've seen with like cell phones and the internet, there's this great promise, but now, we're connected 24 hours a day. Somebody texted me at 11 o'clock at night and they were like, you didn't answer. And I'm like, I know it's on do not disturb. And they were offended. And what did you do before that? And so with AI, when you're looking at increasing production from your training division, increasing, different things, it's really easy to pile on a lot of new tasks. Please don't do that. Take that time, go visit your fire stations, go visit your firefighters. If you're in training division, take that time and get in your gear and go train, go ride. Take some of that time, and then especially to my administrators, if you're on here, please don't do that. Don't completely reinvest all of this efficiency in just doing more work. Take some hedons of balance and maybe spend a day with your family, spend some days with your firefighter, go have lunch with them, do something there. That's my personal plea.
Man, Kevin, that's you need to chop that and put that on repeat.
Or just end the show right now.
Yeah, no, it's done. It's a wrap. And I know y'all got money out there, Budget Chiefs. I'm one of them. July 1st. ESI tickets on sale soon.
3%
Stuff,
discount.
Scott.
3%
Close out,
discount.
Scott.
Well, thank you both for being on here. Man, I enjoy talking to you. Chad and Bobby are two guys. Like I see guys out there doing amazing things, and I just grab their coattails and go along for the ride. And these are two of those guys that I did that with. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Fire Rescue One and IFC. And just as far as TSI, we are in the planning stages of it right now. So TSI will be in December 9th through 11th in Irving, Texas. So just be on the lookout for that because if you're watching the show, you're the type of people we want there.
Right, get your popcorn ready and bring your Fiji water or Fiji water. We want
Well,
to echo what Scott said. I mean, all four of you are kind of the reason that fire me up to work in the fire service and just admire and commend the work that you all continue to do. It's fun to see how technology can be a force multiplier and augment and support and not replace, but help automate some of the mundane tasks and help get better visuals on different situational awareness missions, all these different things. So, Chad and Bobby, you're both practitioners. Keep it up, and look forward to the next Tech Talk Tuesday. I think we'll have a 3 week gap just with said calendar. So tune in again. August 5th will be the next time. So we got a little breather here. And again, thank you all and have a great rest of your Tuesday.
See ya.
Thanks for having us.
See ya.